We have a 1982 Yamaha G2 golf cart that is getting intermittent spark. It will spark maybe once or twice and then nothing.
Welcome to Just Answer Small Engines. Let me try to help you. Check to be sure the ground wire from engine to frame is secure. If in doubt about engine being grounded, take a jumper cable and go direct from the negative side of the battery to the engine block. Then check again for good spark. The system has the coil, going to the plug, the pickup coil under the flywheel in the igniter box. Any of these components can cause intermittent spark. If the ground does not help, I would replace the coil for the spark plug. Full-size image.
When we are turning the engine over shoe. When we are turning the engine over, is there any checks we can do with a voltmeter to determine what component is faulty? I have put the meter on the ignition coil from the orange wire to the black wire, and there is no voltage from black to orange when we crank the engine. I was wanting to know if there's any voltage checks we can do when turning the engine over. When we turn the engine over, I have put my voltmeter on the orange and black terminal of the ignition coil, and there is no power here. I have also put a meter on the igniter box. Is this the CDI unit? Also no power anywhere here. It would be nice to know what kind of power checks we could do to narrow this down. Thanks a bunch. I would like to know if there is any voltage checks I could do to check each component when we are cranking the engine over. I have put my meter on the orange and black terminal going to the ignition coil when turning the engine over, and there is no power. I also have put my meter on the CDI unit. Is this the igniter box? Also no power here when turning engine over. It would be nice to know some voltage checks I could do to determine what is faulty. Thanks a bunch.
I was wrong on the ground system. Yamaha does not use the frame, they just use the battery as a floating ground. This means each component has to have a ground wire that goes into the harness and winds up back at the battery. I would check each component for the ground wire and be sure that you have complete ground. Without that, there is no use to test any further, until ground is known.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit justanswer.com/ythi.